ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the ultimate in Chocobo Final Fantasy podcast. I am your host, Caleb.
I am Joe.
And we have a guest host in-house today. Actually in-house.
How's it going, everybody?
Krinital.
From the B team. The B still functions.
Straight off of the bench, we have Krinital here. He flew into town to apparently just take over my weekend, and then also Joe's fortnight. But that's awesome. Yeah, we've invited him out for years. He's been interested in like visiting the state and seeing the country, obviously, because we have a great country. It's tons of different shit to look at.
It's so much shit to see on this entire town, man.
So many shit to see in this town.
Yeah. He's already had the Betos, he's had the J-Dogs, he's had In-N-Out. We're culturaling him up.
Welcome to the West.
I will understand the West now.
Yeah. It's mostly air and grease.
All that context from the West Coast that none of us Easterners understood.
Yeah. We're sending one of yours back cultured. So come to him for all your needs. But he's also, as it turns out, the greatest player at Chocobo Racing I've ever seen, or I've ever heard of. I never actually saw him. In fact, when I faced him, I won. But apparently, this man beat every level without losing once, which I'm sure for Joe was insanely infuriating.
It was. Yesterday was Chocobo Racing Day. That's all we did yesterday, pretty much. And I sat down. Schweiss had to go buy a van.
Yeah.
So
a nice luxury van.
Luxury van.
It's
there
pretty
you go.
nice, yeah.
And so there was, we had looked at the time. We knew it wasn't going to be even like a 2-hour campaign. It was supposed to be pretty short, like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay, well, I'll just go first while Schweiss is buying a van, and Grin was hanging out. And, or you had to go, I think, for the first half of the game.
I was like, I missed the first 2 chapters, but I caught you on the haunted hayride of races.
Yeah, and so I started the game, and it was going like pretty fast. And I had looked, there was like 9 chapters or 10 chapters was listed in the game.
Yeah.
But really there were 9 in a way. And I just started plowing through the story mode. There's only a few different modes in this game. It's like story mode, relay, Grand Prix, a versus mode, and does that pretty much cover it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
That's basically what it's, and we're not going to repeat all the versions that you just set off.
But so the story mode was what we decided we had to beat, and then we would play around with the game for a little bit after we had beaten the campaign. The campaign turns out only to be, as far as I know, a 1-player campaign. I tried to hook up the other controller to see if
we tried finagling it with both the PS5 controller and the regular controller, but one controller had absolutely no Joy-Con on the left stick, so it was, to our standards, unusable.
Yeah.
But clearly Schweiss found a way to surpass all of us in God mode with only a directional pad.
Yeah, there's a cheat in that controller. Like I short-circuited it so that I just win.
Yeah. I actually thought you couldn't use the analog stick, but then I found out later that the way to change it from analog to quote-unquote digital mode, which I don't know why it's called digital mode.
No
but
idea.
It's the D-pad. Maybe D-pad mode would be.
Maybe D means, it doesn't mean directional like we've always thought. It means
digital.
Yeah.
Does it like for your digits, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I only use one digit over there.
But I feel like we use all digits for other parts of the controller, too, so that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I didn't understand why I was doing it, because it would also glitch and just switch over for an unknown reason.
Yeah. Did that on the last level.
Oh, yeah.
For no reason. It just decided to switch from analog to digital mode on the PS3. But yeah, I was rushing through the story. I thought I was doing pretty well. Krinital comes in and the game becomes hell. And I don't know, maybe it was like a little bit of like, there's someone looking at the game while I'm playing it, and maybe a little nervousness, but that should have been gone by the end of the game.
Right, like you slowly over time, you did get better. But that was first after about 200 tries, and then eventually you switched to handicap mode.
I sure did. Don't tell Schweiss. Oh, wait. He's here.
But that was only for the final level choice. Only.
Oh, only for the hard one? Okay,
yeah.
Only for the ridiculous one. But yeah, this game was beating my ass down hard. And like chapter 5 on, outside of like one level in like a candy factory, chapter 5 on was honestly like pretty infuriating. I had to restart them like quite a few times. There was something about taking the really sharp turns in this game that was
horrible,
extremely difficult for me, and I didn't understand it really. I kept on using one of the special moves, like
grip.
Yeah, I kept on using grip, and grip kind of saves you from the corners. So instead of having the speed boost ability or any of the other abilities, I use the grip ability, and every time I would try to time it where I would get to like one of those hellish corner areas where it's like one corner after another.
Yeah.
I would hit that grip one, and so I would slide against the wall and not really slow down. And I would just be hitting the wall the whole time, basically. So it was not great until I finally got to the last level, and the last level was so infuriating for me. I don't know how many times I tried it, honestly. And
more than 30.
Wow.
More than 30. There was a certain point where I was just like, Crin, you could play for a little while.
He did. He got fed up and walked away from it.
And I'm like, I'm done for a little bit. I know Schweiss is going to be here for like 5 hours anyway, so fuck it. I'm going to go pace around in anger in the townhome here, just like, oh my God. And then I watched someone else play it on YouTube, and I was hearing how he was taking the corners with the drift. And I was like just listening to his pattern, his thumb pattern. And I was like,
1, 2, 3, 1, 2,
and he
3.
was going through it flawlessly. What it was like every time he hit one of those corners in this level, it'd be like it was like 2 real quick drifts to get the corner, and then one to like correct himself almost if it was a little sharper of a turn. And I was like, okay, this is possible. This is doable. I tried it. I was doing a little better, and then I was like, there's got to be a delay on this TV. And so I unplugged. I was live streaming, and we had the PS3 going through like a bunch of different switchers and everything.
Yeah.
I unplugged it. I plugged it into the TV
for direct access.
So there was as little delay as possible.
And so you dropped the latency down to like of half a second for like
to as slow as fast as it could possibly be. I don't know what the latency was, but it was enough that I was like, I feel like I should be hitting these drifts, and I'm not. And it worked. I did put the handicap on. I don't think it was that level. I think it was the level before when I put the handicap on.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it just put up guardrails for
the
you?
The handicap on, it was, I think it increases your abilities.
Well, it kind of noticed that,
them or something like that.
Yeah, for having the handicap version is it both bolsters your speed and handling ability, but also makes your opponents far weaker in ability to be able to control their cars.
It doesn't help me make a turn better.
No.
So
it just makes it so you get in the lead way easier.
The thing that was killing me, it didn't matter. And there was just a point where I was like, first off, I told Krinital to shut up, and I yelled at him. Because he was like, he was being a backseat driver, and I was like, stop.
Krinital? No, come on. He would never do that.
And then I just like had him over. I had to like zen out, and I was like, okay, I'm not trying to win this race. All I'm trying to do is hit these corners as good as I can,
and just shut up and let him drive.
That's all I had to do. And you know what? After I like decided to do that, I beat it just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, it was a successful game. I think it took me about an hour and 40, maybe an hour and 50 minutes to beat, and then Krinital comes on, and he's like, okay, well, let me try it. Krinital skips the cutscenes, just does the races.
Mind you, I was watching Joe the entire time, so I already knew what the plot was.
Yeah, he did watch me the whole time. And then he also, like, he played, like, one round of Grand Prix.
Yep.
And he had also played, like, one of the levels I was stuck on, but he didn't beat it for me. He just played one of them.
I made sure not to do his job for him.
Yes. And so, because there was a point where he's like offering to do it, I'm like, Krin, I have to beat this myself for this show.
I even gave that same package to Schweiss, but Schweiss also said no.
Schweiss will know if you do it. I'll smell it. I'll come in and be like,
well, it'd be on the Twitch stream.
Smells like failure in here.
But I was having a hard time at the game. Krin comes in. He literally beats every level in one try.
So it's like a 20-minute game,
yes!
maybe.
Yeah.
I was not happy. He also got like a way high score and unlocked a bonus chapter at
there
the
is
end.
a bonus chapter 10 that's not really posted that you can see afterwards after you get apparently what looks like to be above an 80 score, and I got an 85.
Oh, wow.
And the only reason I had not 100 is because I fell off on the map, on his map, and also on the volcano map like 15 times.
Oh, really?
And that's what's causing me not to have a 100.
It's sad that you can beat those two while also still falling off the map a bunch. Because the other drivers are just like driving like grannies because they don't want to die.
Yeah.
So that's what happened to me. And then Krinital, like, what is it about this game that you could just speak to it? Like, what was that?
I don't know. Like, I'm not even really much of a race car driver or much of like a Gran Turismo or like a Diddy Kong racing player, because most of the time it's just the controls are different. But this one just felt, to me, after watching you do your hundreds of runs and watching it over and over again, seeing all the peak turns and understanding where the depth of where you needed to turn at was, like, I kind of just saw the path. Like, you would...
I saw the path.
You just see where you need to go. The line shows up, you just put yourself in the position, and you just tap, 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 like you're playing Elden Rings and you're dodging rainfall. And you're just running like it's nobody's business. But even still, with being able to dodge rainfall, there's going to still be like a meteor or like a really sharp turn that just does to screw you over. And like, it's no joke. Like, Joe and Schweiss never made it to the last level. They played it when we played Grand Relay Race, when we did our versus mode, and we played the FF8 Darling City. I forget what that is. Delling City. And when you beat that area, you get Squall as an extra character, which is why you would saw him on there. But the difference of level difficulty from Joe's last area in the story, which is already hard, this is on a whole nother level because there is more than 100 90-degree turns for some unknown reason. And this just boxes you in, forcing you to either slow down or just drift like a madman.
The game rates the difficulty of that track as 6 out of 5, by the way.
Does it really?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Oh, wow. At least it knows.
Yeah. Because it knows it's being a dick. Just for unknown reason. It just wants to be an evil person to you. And...
So that took you a minute?
It did took... Well, I still beat it on the first try. But
it's not hard.
No.
But he was complaining about it.
I was struggling beyond compare for that level. Because in that level, they add another character in that race with you, and you're fighting Squall. And Squall, for some bizarre reason, because he's a secret character, has way more benefits than every other character. And he can handle corners like nobody. And he has the ability in the game called Gunblade. It's one of the charge-up abilities once you unlock beating the level. And what it does is after you charge it all the way up, it's much slower than the rest of abilities charge up. And it, once unleashed, it forces you to pick up momentum. And so you guarantee to get to first place, and then strikes the person as you pass them from second place into first place, guaranteeing you the first place.
Yeah, it's so broken to the point where Joe, I was like at the finish line, and I zapped the fuck out of Joe. Like, he was coming up on me fast.
Lightning bolt after lightning bolt, fireball after ice.
I zapped him, and he flipped, but he still hammered me, and I just launched in the air, and then I landed, and I like could not fucking move, and then Joe won by like a hair.
Literally like, what is it, like 0.05 of a second off the back end. That's all it mattered. It's the race of how close I was, because that's happened to me and Schweiss on the first race we did in versus mode, where you only beat me by just 0.5 of a second.
Yeah, it was pretty close, but the cloud one is pretty overpowered. It's not fair. You know what I think actually happened though, Krinital?
What?
I think you watched Joe play and you just memorized the directions. And we're not talking like standard directions. We're talking Krinital directions. Like come into the area, make a left, go right, hang on the wall, make another right. There's a shortcut on the left. And you just watched him, and it just like it's like that picture of Zach Galifianakis or whatever his name is in the fucking where he's got like the numbers and like the formulas going across.
Oh, in
his
the
face.
Hangover Part 2,
Yeah,
where he ends up going to
Hangover.
try winning his hand in poker by trying to be able to count cards, and he read a book of counting cards, and you see all the algorithms rolling in his head, perfectly lining himself up.
That's exactly what it is for you. And then you're like, all right, give it to me. And then you just do it like you're not even looking at it.
It's still not even like, even if you had memorized all the maps, it still doesn't make sense that your first time round, every single map, you hit first place.
That's true, because you don't really have time to memorize, except for watching you do it. But he didn't even do the shortcuts. Like when I fought him, I don't think he hit a single shortcut.
Not a single shortcut. I did not even see whether people were telling me where they are, but I don't see the curve point. I just see the path that's already given, and I'm just focusing on that getting there. But apparently Schweiss had already figured out both the mining cart area, the...
I didn't figure out the squall one. I wiped out into the fucking shortcut.
he accidentally hit
I
into
still
it.
don't know where it is.
Oh,
I know where it is.
Joe's just like, oh, you missed it again. I'm like,
It's
okay.
right. There's like a part where you're going, there's like a bunch of steps that you're going down. There's like a hill. It's right before the steps, and it's on the right-hand side.
oh, is it? Okay. They're pretty brutal, too. They cut you, like, deep if you hit one of those things.
Oh, yeah, because literally, I think that's how Schweiss won the versus race with us when we tried to do, what was it, 3 races for 4 different tracks.
Yeah.
And you kept picking up the shortcut more than often than I would, but if it was just a regular, I still think I probably would have won if you were picking up the shortcuts every time.
Probably, yeah. Probably better at the game. I'm just better at finding the exploits.
Yeah, because I think one thing you could learn is if you've ever played California Racing back in like the arcade form, if you were younger, you would like double tap the gas pedal. If you wait for the 3 bombs to just finally go away and you hear the buzzer and you press square as soon as the buzzer goes off, you get launched at double the rate of acceleration.
Oh, I thought it was X square, because that's what it's always been in most games. Like you have the brake and the gas and you let go.
Nah.
Like you're spinning out, because that's what you do in real life when you peel out. You are hitting you're revving the shit out of it.
You're supposed to switch to neutral, rev up the car to over 5,000 RPM, and then once you launch it into drive, your car is supposed to click over into full acceleration, hitting at 5,000 RPM, and the car takes off. Normally, you're not supposed to do that unless you have a supercharger in a car. But again, I digress.
You could totally do it, yeah. It's just not good for your tires.
That sounds horrible for the car.
It is horrible. You destroy tires this way.
I used to do that in my old red Honda. I would like race people. It was really funny. Like there'd be like chargers and stuff, and they'd think I was fucking around, and I'd like beat them on the first light, and then the second light they would just like I would just be absolutely demolished. It'd be so sad. I'd be going as hard as I could, and it's just they're just fucking
outstrip you.
Yeah.
Schweiss, how was your experience playing this?
It was pretty hard. I don't. It's weird. Once we worked on the game, I bought my van. I spent way too much money on my van. Not that I've spent it yet, but I will over time. But
it's a quality investment for you, though.
Yeah, it's actually probably going to increase in value because of the way the market is right now. So that's kind of weird for a car. Not that it matters because I'm probably going to keep it. So, but it'll be cool to say that it's worth more than I paid. But I got back and I was expecting Krinital to still be in the story, but he was done, and I was like, "What the fuck? What are you talking about?" Like, I know I took a minute, but what is this shit, Joe? It took like an hour and a half, you know.
I was like, nah.
And so I was like, all right, I guess I better do it then, so we could do this episode. And I fire it up, and it's pretty rough. I think I won the first one, maybe the first try. I don't remember.
It's such a simple track.
Yeah, it's really easy, but. Man, it got progressively harder and harder and harder, and then it got to the point where we wanted to go do a hike here locally before the sunset, because it's a really nice sunset up in the mountain.
Oh, man.
And we wanted to, fuck and make out and stuff.
Yeah, it's a great place to make
to the
out.
sunset, yeah.
If you could make it up the damn hill.
Yeah.
I was struggling. I was sitting there breathing my last breath like every 20 steps because I'm not used to the climate out here.
It's not fair that you're from Virginia and you come up to 4,500 feet
And we just make you work out the whole time.
Hey, I made it to the base of the Y, so I'm pretty proud of myself.
Yeah, there you
go. Nah. So we did that, and then when I came back, I was actually pretty good when I came back. Like, I was able to focus, and I don't know. I just turned on that part of my brain that makes me flap my hands a bunch. I don't know.
What?
That's our joke on Nude Clan. Like, when people are really good at games that are like painful,
they just start flapping their hands.
Yeah, it's like a
drip the sweat off.
It's
me.
like
now my hands are dry.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one.
Yeah, that's the joke.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
Because you went sweaty. He went real good. But yeah, that's the joke on Nude Clan. So check it out. It's a great show.
Yeah, if you want to understand what we're talking about.
Yeah. But it's like there's just a weird, like, you just kind of need to focus. I think Joe's right about you just need to like really zen out and not worry about any characters around you. Nope. You just need to worry about surviving. And if you do that
on the track,
if you do that, you're the last level I barely won when I did win because I flew off the map at the last second.
That final turn is screwing with both of you guys every single time.
But it was weird because, was it that one or the volcano where like...
Well, both of them had difficulties, but the one that was a concurrent problem for every single race you did on that track was always the Bahamut track.
Yeah.
And you would always fall at the last 90-degree angle because there's no barrier or guardrail. It's just a chasm right next to the finish
line. And it looks so tempting.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you want to keep going. It's blue. It's nice color.
But yeah, the volcano one also had one too, but it had this like barrier just tells you, hey, heads up, something's
here.
There's a
yellow sign that's like, oh shit, that's the one.
I slammed into the sign one time and it worked. It stopped me. So I was like, oh, I should have just been doing this. It's easier. It's just fucking slam into the wall.
I wish that was a secret. Like you could just bypass that entire like L bracket right there and just go into the next chamber if you could just hit it.
You can slam into it and it'll stop you.
No, I'm talking about like I want it to be like a mechanic and fall
like
over
and
create a secret track.
I mean, that'd be cool if it just saved you by secret track. But yeah, and then I beat the game. The last one that I won, I don't know why I did this, but I like decided to go turbo boost mode at the last possible second just to like wipe them out, and then I flew off the map like violently without trying to turn at all. And then when I landed back on the map, I was like losing to this chick, but then she just like kind of stopped a little bit. Do you remember that? Where she just kind of like slowed down and I like fucking bypassed her by like half a second and I won.
I think your acceleration was just faster with your character.
Yeah. Oh, you think so? Okay.
Because each one has their own benefits. Like I think the Fat Chocobo has way more control and handling, but he's way slower than everybody else.
He was the recommended when I looked at people who were like sick at this level in my moments of rage. Everybody was using the Fat Chocobo on the final level.
I got to the point where I used each character that was unlocked for the next level. The only one I didn't use was the first unlock. The
Chocobo?
No,
Moogle.
I used Chocobo. I didn't use Moogle. I never used Moogle once.
Yeah. I don't even know what the benefit of Moogle really is. I mean, you sound pretty interesting in the story, though.
Yeah, he's a little thief, but...
He's a greedy little dick.
So that's basically our experience with it.
Tell us about Chocobo Racing.
So, Chocobo Racing, known in Japan as Chocobo Racing, Genkai no Road. There's no road, that's right. It's a racing game developed by Squareco for the PlayStation. It was released March of 1999 in Japan and in North America, August of 1999. So we're almost in the 2000s with these things, which is hilarious because then we jump to 2022. So 2000 to 2022, beloved series. Chocobo Racing.
Square took a break.
Yeah, they took a big ass break. Like no one works there anymore. That probably worked on this one.
The racing division went on vacation, decided to come back after 20 years.
Yeah, 20-year sabbatical. So it's basically like it's exactly what you think it would be. It's a racing game with a bunch of characters from, I would say Final Fantasy, but really I'm saying the Chocobo games. So it's already kind of niche because it's a Final Fantasy racing game. And then it's even more niche because all the characters are from the Chocobo games, which are like another level.
Yeah, there's
below.
references in the game to Chocobo Dungeon.
Yeah, multiple. Yeah, so it's deep.
And the grim adventures of Hansel and Gretel.
That is also true, yeah. So it's basically a kart racer. It's kind of similar to like Crash Team Racing or
Diddy Kong Racing or Super Mario Kart.
Yeah, we're just gonna dance around the main one and just give you like more obscure titles.
Just give you all the obscure ones before someone finally says Super Mario Kart.
It's kind of like Hoodoo's Road Trip, but not quite as good.
What was that one? What was that Super Mario Kart like knockoff game that came on the PS3 that everybody was playing for like a week and a half? Oh man, there is one. It was actually a pretty excellent game, and I played it for a little while.
Mario Kart knockoff on the PS3?
Yeah, it was on the PS3, man.
Like, do you remember who was in it? Was it like a...
No, it wasn't like a super thing, but like all the mechanics were very similar to Super Mario Kart.
Like there was Sockman Racing.
I'm going to have to look it up. This is going to take me a little bit to find out exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because I do remember there's like this game on the PS3 during its early generation where you can customize your own track, and you basically run on little go-karts with little Sock Boy from like the PlayStation, or what I remember. I don't remember game franchise he's from.
Mod Nation Racers.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's the game.
Nice.
It's like Mod Nation Racers. You guys remember that one.
I do.
Of course.
I
it
do.
was a great game, at least from what I remember of it. That was a great game. Yeah, it's actually like very similar to Mario Kart. It's more simple, I'd say. Like it uses, I guess, elemental powers like from the Final Fantasy games instead of bananas and turtle shells and shit. And most of them basically do the same thing. There's like
the fireball shoots like a regular missile.
Yeah,
it's shrink ray or minimize realistically.
Yeah, you get a minimize, which you get in Mario Kart. You get there is a fireball which does kind of work like a turtle shell. And then unlike Mario Kart, if you like, instead of getting like one of the cool, really super ones as a random one where, you know, everybody's fucked but you, this one you can build up the powers and all of them do the same thing. It's like if you build up all the fireballs, you build up all the lightning, if you build up all the Ultima, everybody gets knocked for a bit and that lets you go ahead.
That's the Ultima spell.
Yeah, that's the Ultima spell. And there's also
there's Cursed or Doom.
There's Doom where you hit it, someone's near you, it'll go to them. If you don't, it'll catch on you, and then you have to hit somebody with Doom.
And you have 10 seconds.
I never touched that Doom thing. I saw it on the lineup of all the shit you could pick up as you're racing along. I'm like, I'm not touching that Doom because it always fucks me over. It's like if I'm winning, I'm fucked. Actually, if I hit that Doom. There's a reflect.
There's a dash.
There's also a the ice one is actually one where you like throw it behind you instead. That's the only one.
It's like the banana gimmick.
It's kind of like the banana.
Yeah, it definitely is.
So it's very much like that. Plus, you can have before the race starts, after you pick your character, who, as Krin said before, like you get they have individual handling ability. You also have kind of a boost thing that builds up over time, and there's different powers. There's 8 powers in total, but during the campaign, like it slowly builds however many you have.
I thought there was 10.
Like there's a dash, there's the handling one which we talked about earlier. There's one that like kind of lifts you up and like flies you through like bumpy zones if you want to.
There's receive damage like a tank. There's reflect.
There's steal.
Yeah.
So you can steal other people's magic orbs, I guess, is what the thing is called. So it's but then otherwise it's like Mario Kart. Everybody's just racing along a circular track for 3 laps. And there's like a bunch of other characters who have the same thing, and it's just like a wild kind of mess. I'd still think it's more simple than regular Mario Kart. I'm not sure about this gen, so that'd be Mario Kart 64, but it's like a simple Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Doom. The problem with picking up Doom is it's like the fucking dodo birds from Ice Age, you know? Because if you get Doom and there's no one nearby, it's Doom on you.
Ooh,
Doom on you. So it's a pain in the ass.
Good reference.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie in like 10 years. But
I think that studio just closed.
Yeah, they did.
What, DreamWorks?
No. The independent studio that specifically only made Ice Age.
Blue.
Oh.
Something. I can't remember the name of the studio, but Disney took over Fox. That was their animation studio.
Oh, they just killed it?
And they killed it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Like, we don't need another one.
And
then they made the last thing they made was a short film where Scrat actually got
he finally got his acorn.
Got the acorn.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Closure at last.
Yeah. Fuck Disney. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that is pretty.
From Joe.
That is pretty annoying. But yeah, that's basically the gameplay. I mean, you guys covered it pretty well.
Sorry,
it's kind of like
I did that in the middle of your development.
It's kind of like a brutal Mario Kart where like you get abilities that affect every single person on the map. And like the last level, I got hit by
literally everything.
7 or 8. Like everyone gets blasted, moves. And I almost lost because of it. Like, I was winning by a lot. And the fucker that kept doing that stuff, like, caught up to me pretty much. Because I just kept getting blasted by move after move after move. So it's like an unfair, less fun Mario Kart. But anyway, yeah, they decided to start development in, like, 1998. That's when they first announced it. And it was at the Fall Tokyo Game Show, and they weren't sure if they were going to release it in North America. IGN thought it looked a lot like, obviously, Mario Kart. And then I guess in the release of Chocobo Dungeon 2, they had a bonus CD that included a video clip of the game. Seems like a waste of a CD, but whatever. They actually released it early because it was done early. Those are the good old days.
Wow. That's so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of the thing they would do back in like the 1990s into early 2000s. They would give you these bonus discs to just play demos of just random titles.
I remember those in like Pizza Hut, but that was like multiple. I never heard of like just a disc that just has a little video on it.
Yeah, like the magazine companies during
that
that
used to
time
rip.
would do that.
No, I had one that was it was like an Xbox 360 demo disc that didn't have games on it. It was a DVD with a whole bunch of clips. So it was basically telling you like in the Xbox store you can get movies and you can see music videos, and it had music videos and shit, and then it had trailers for a bunch of games.
Interesting.
I don't even remember who bought what in my family where we ended up with that disc, but yeah.
Nice. Apparently, they also worked with Koro Key to produce toy cars to celebrate the release of the game.
Even though hardly anyone uses actually a car in this game.
Yeah.
Chocobo is
on rollerblades.
Riding around on rollerblades.
Mog is in a scooter, yeah.
Goblins in a minecart.
The girl's on a magic carpet.
Behemoth's on a tank.
Bahamut just flies.
Yeah. Squall's actually in a go-kart, literally.
Yeah, there you go.
And I guess it's just the bonus character that you have to unlock after being a monster at the game.
When you actually physically have legit tires for an actual racetrack.
Yeah.
The music was done by Kenji Ito, by the way. Mostly taking songs from Nobuo Uematsu, and I would say jazzing them up. It's like,
I would say up is the perturbed word for this. Like, there were some songs that were kind of like, but there was a couple songs that were.
I thought, well, he remade the fight dun 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 dun. The
FF8 battle music.
He did the FF8 battle music on the FF8 track, and I honestly thought it was way better than the original because that's not my favorite battle music in the series.
Yeah.
As much as I love FF8, I kind of don't really care for the music too much. Or a lot of the music, not all the music, obviously. There's some amazing pieces in there. But that one, I just thought he he made it just like a little bit stronger and a little faster. And I was just like, way to go.
I don't know, man. I was dying on that track. I wasn't really focusing on the music, but I did hear it ambiently in the background, but I wasn't focusing on it.
There's some bizarre ones for sure. But Kenji Ito did the theme for my favorite soundtrack, or one of my favorite soundtracks that we've come across so far, which is Final Fantasy Adventure. That was his original music. This is Nobuo Uematsu. However, Kenji Ito did do the song at the end.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's to blame for that.
It's awful.
Him and
awful song.
What the hell is her name?
Vicky Davis.
Vicky Davis, yeah. Who doesn't even have a link on here. Vicky Bell.
Vicky Bell.
There's not even a when I pulled up the wiki at the time of planning this episode, there wasn't even a.
Let's see if she has any accolades in her career. Or was this her first option of like coming right out of like church, and this is her first role ever?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure this is not a professional singer.
It's just a person.
Yeah, it's not that the melody of the song was terrible. I don't know what the words were. It was honestly kind of hard to hear because she was pretty low in the mix, probably on purpose.
She repeatedly fell out of tune.
constantly was flat. Like, legitimately, guys, this is a professional recording from a big game studio.
Yeah.
They write this song. Kenji Ito writes this song. It's done at Japanese originally. We didn't hear the Japanese version in the one that we played. Someone does it in English, dubs it in English, and it's awful.
Yeah.
It's bad.
I still think it was
consistently painfully flat.
Oh yeah,
notes being hit in this song.
It's like, I think a lot of the songs in there kind of, to me, sounded like they were all lullabies, all of them.
Oh, there's a creepy lullaby.
In like the second last episode.
Yeah.
Oh god, it was creepy. Sounds like an actual like toddler singing, and it's like creepy.
Yeah, that's true.
So the theme song does kind of sound like a lullaby a little bit, kind of like Melodies of Life, I guess, kind of does. But and that also has a la 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 la. But
they share those in common.
In this one is.
I mean, Dave did a really good rendition of it, though.
I think we might need to get him to do this song too.
No,
it's not. It's probably not iconic.
No one's ever going to search the words for this song. Like,
that's true.
I bet if we look this song up on YouTube, whoever ripped it on there and put it on YouTube, there's like 30,000 views max.
You're probably right.
I probably don't even think it's that.
Yeah. So it was directed by Takashi Tokita, who worked as the lead designer of Final Fantasy IV and was the director of Parasite Eve and Chrono Trigger.
Ooh.
I think Chrono Trigger was directed by more than one person. So
yeah.
This is a big guy doing this one. He also did The Bouncer. He also did Final Fantasy IV Heroes of Light.
Oh, nice.
So we've seen him before.
Yeah, for sure.
That's kind of is that all, pretty much all the information we have on the development there?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
So like I said before, this game kind of features a lot of stuff from previous Final Fantasy games, references from the Chocobo Dungeon series, and then it's probably like Final Fantasy 1 through 8. That's about right. I guess you can unlock Cloud.
8 was, I believe, what was it, released like 1 month?
No, we're talking about Squall or we're talking about Cloud?
Difference.
The Squall's in the game.
Cloud's in the game too.
Really?
As an unlockable. Yeah, you can unlock...
He must be the 100. He must be the 100.
Cactar, Bahamut, Cloud, Aya,
Cactar
and Squall.
2?
Yeah.
I don't know what you have to do to unlock
What are you going to do for that? I would have played Cactar.
Unknown.
I'm sure you can do it.
I'm sure you could, yeah.
Maybe after this episode, I'll go back and try and unlock it.
While we're playing Nude Clan.
Yeah. So
recording Nude Clan.
Pretty much what happens in this game story-wise is you come in as Chocobo, and Sid makes him a pair of like jetpack blades, rollerblade things.
Mm-hmm.
And he asks you to test him out on the racetrack back behind his house. And you do that, and then Mog shows up. He's jealous. He wants his own vehicle. This is kind of how the game goes. Each time you race, you'll race against Mog, and then you'll beat Mog, and then Mog will join your team, and then you race against somebody else.
Yeah.
And then the whole time, you're basically on an adventure to discover what the hell's going on with these blue crystals.
The Magicite?
The Magicite shards, yeah, that you have and Mog has, and everybody you keep coming across and racing happens to have. And you guys all kind of come together as you journey throughout the world, and you're still trying to discover like what's going on. You find a white mage who is the chick from the
Chocobo
Dungeons.
Yeah, you'd have a better reference on that because I haven't gotten a chance to play those.
I'm tired of seeing the purple-haired girl, I'll be honest.
Only one more Chocobo game.
Only one more time, and I'll never have to see her face again. But basically, yeah, you're just trying to discover the secret of these crystals that everybody happens to have. Like Fat Chocobo swallowed one, and it's in his gut. He's basically alluding to the fact that he's going to have to shit it out to give it to you.
Yep.
And you're all kind of working together, and Mog's whole plot is to kind of like...
He wants the Magicite so we can sell it to make money.
Yeah, he wants to steal it. Just like in Chocobo Dungeon 2, you know, he was trying to take the crystal to fucking steal. And then
Mog's a dick in the Chocobo universe.
Yeah, he's a douchebag. He's like a really shitty Tomb Raider, you know? Or I guess it'd be more like Nathan Drake from Uncharted. Like he's actually trying to steal the treasure. He's just really bad at actually getting it stolen. He's terrible at it. So once the Magicite shards are collected by everybody you bring along the way, you find that's when you after you defeat the behemoth, he's the last guy that has it. That's when Bahamut comes down.
By the way, defeat, of course. Everything in this game is like, oh, we should race for it.
Yeah, pretty much. And then instead of giving it up, they're like, I'll just join you.
There's no continuity of the actual actions they're asking for and the actual plot of why there needs to be racing.
Yeah, it's not as bad as Dissidia. As far as like what the fuck's going on here, you know?
It's like now we're walking here. Now we're walking here.
Yeah, isn't it cool to see these guys hang out and walk? You're like, not at all.
No,
not at all. But that's basically what it is. And then Bahamut greets you and says, "Hey, you know," kind of explains after testing you, of course, in a battle to defeat him in a race. He tells you that you guys are super powerful. He then says that he, you know, wants to he used to want to destroy mankind pretty much, but now he's like oppressed again. It's kind of a weird story. It almost reminds me of like Raya, the fucking kids movie that came out a little while ago, like different pieces of the puzzle coming together to like form one united nation again.
I must never have seen that movie.
No, probably not. But yeah, Mog also finds out that he had Magicite the whole time. He's basically trying to steal everybody else's.
But he had one in his pom-pom for some bizarre reason.
Yeah, his palm. It's probably cancer.
That's another part of the game that's kind of funny. It's like, wow. We because the plot is, you know, we separated these Magicite for years. We summons, what were they called in this game? Adolins? Maybe?
Espers,
yeah.
We Espers. We put them. We separated them when we split them up, and we separated them throughout the world for hundreds of years or whatever. And then after that, like, oh, these random people just all got them today.
Yeah, yeah, and they scattered it across the world because people kept like fighting over it and shit like that. Which is it's the same plot as that movie, as that Raya and the Last Dragon movie. It's like the exact same.
Nice.
And I was joking about it for a minute, and then I was like, oh no, it actually is. Like, everyone's kind of coming together, bringing their part of the puzzle together, and then they're going to say, oh, I guess mankind's not so bad after all. And then it's over. And then they live in their paradise.
And then they open up a new track.
Yeah, and then they open up a new track, and they have to race Squall.
and
it's a hellscape
world.
Yeah. And they go visit, and in this one, they actually go visit Mickey Mouse in the land of Fantasia. And then it becomes kind of Mortal Kombat-y, too, because there's like two different realms.
Someone's going to believe you after that sentence, by the way.
Yeah, probably.
Somebody.
So I guess there's two different realms of existence. And I think they called one of them Outworld, didn't they? And that's not what they called one of them? I feel like they did. It really felt like Mortal Kombat for a minute there, too. And I was like, oh, it's kind of like Mortal Kombat and Raya and the Last Dragon, like, mashed together violently. And then they just like put out whatever you came up with.
Well, like the plot is stupid, but the game knows the plot is stupid. So like we're saying this with like making fun of it, but the game is like
it jokes about itself.
Like, it jokes about telling the story, and all the characters are like ridiculous and corny, and it has like this like almost like
at least it understood what it was and not tried to play into a different field when it doesn't belong there.
Yeah, so it had fun with it. It knows it's a racing game. It's like, well, I'll race you, you know, and then tell you the story. Like, there's a whole bunch of like, it's just, you know, they just like had to do a story mode, and so they're just like, okay, well, we'll just like fuck around with it. We'll have fun.
They went into the drawing room and they're like, how the hell are we going to make a racing game into the story? That's ridiculous. And then the guy's like, exactly. It's ridiculous. Just make it ridiculous. Just have them reference the fact that they were like, why are we doing this? Oh, we got to keep telling the story, keep racing.
Nah, I didn't want to take any references from racing movies. Didn't want to use any like plausible material from the early 2000s.
I mean, possibly like you could probably have like some kind of crew that they rob truck drivers on the freeway or something like that.
Or do like a Days of Thunder.
Then like another guy comes in and he's really obsessed with NOS, bro. And like and like he gets in, he tries to like get with the crew.
That would have made sense.
And there's like, and what you don't know is that there's this huge underground racing community in every large city on the planet.
Yeah.
That no one apparently knew about, despite the fact that you would hear that all the time if that was happening, by the way.
Yeah.
So, you know, some kind of plot like that. Maybe some really muscular dudes and like a really pretty boy that can't act.
And a lot of talk about...
It's awfully specific, Joe.
A lot of talk about family.
Yeah, a lot of talk about family.
It's extremely important.
It took me a fraction of a second. I got there.
I guess Mog would be like Vin Diesel, right?
No. Well,
hey guys.
No,
maybe Sid.
Maybe Sid, because Mog's too greedy.
Yeah, you think so?
I need Nos. God.
Yeah.
That movie's so dumb.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
It's fun, but it's dumb. I've only watched the first 4. I've heard they get better after 5.
Isn't there 9 of them now?
And I consistently fell asleep during every single one of those that I watched.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, which I don't fall asleep to movies. So the fact that I fell asleep during all 4 of the Fast and Furious movies I've seen.
Damn.
Yeah. So that's basically how the story ends, though. He's just excited. Bahamut's excited that like all the different races came together to, bro down and race and fight each other via racing, and then
by the power of friendship,
work together to open up Fantasia. Because I guess Mickey Mouse is just trapped there. We need to save him.
Yeah, this is a prequel to Kingdom Hearts.
Exactly, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Merlin's got him stuck in the tower, mopping up the floors.
Yeah. Once you beat the game, though, you get a ranking with a max of 100 points, and you use those points to actually soup up parameters.
One custom character.
For a character, yeah. And this is kind of a cool idea. It almost made me want to kind of play it again. Because I'm like, well, now if I play it one more time as Fat Chocobo, because he's who I upgraded, I can max out Fat Chocobo, and then I could fucking stomp the game and unlock all the extra shit. Get 100% because I've got God fucking turning, got God speed, got.
Yeah, when Joe and me found out what happens when you give grip on the status effects of 20. I was like, it's like butter, man.
Yeah, it's actually smooth. It's a smooth game when you upgrade the character. I'm like, this actually works. Before, it's like jank ass, and you're just like hitting the brake and sliding a little bit every time you have to make a slight turn.
But then you also find out when you don't give any drift to your character, he doesn't even perform it at all. He just
He just
stops.
spins out. He spins out.
That's crazy.
You have to be very careful with your points unless you want to completely bomb one of your characters. But if you beat it a couple times, I think you could max out any one character, and then you could beat it with ease in 10 minutes.
It's given you based on 100 points, because that's your score. You use the point value you got as your representation, because I got 85.
I think Crin's right.
I think 85 points.
He is, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you stack it.
Well, you don't think you can play the game again and then...
It'd be for a different instance.
You played it on Crin's file, so you can go and check that.
Maybe I will. Not for this episode, of course, but... Because who did you upgrade?
I upgraded the mage.
Okay, so we upgraded different people, but I had your stuff unlocked because
the game unlocked it because I unlocked it for you, so it saved partially.
So when you save the game on the PlayStation 3, or I guess on the PS1, we all saved it with the same memory card, but we kept overwriting each other's story.
No, not necessarily because
I did it on a different one. You were on Crin's, though.
Yeah, because when you go into versus mode and you unlock the ability to use your accessible character,
you can go into different memory cards.
You can go into not as in memory card in versus mode in the upper left hand corner. If you go to P1, you can actually highlight the specific mod character you made. Because I picked Joe's character and my character in a versus battle, and so you could do the same thing.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you can stack them. I think you get those points and you make one character. And maybe you can go in and edit that character. That's the thing where maybe you'll have 100 whatever points to do with. 100. I don't think you will, though. I think you have a max of whatever you have done.
Yeah.
So Crin is 85 points for his first.
But I think it's 100 points to get all of it, right?
All of it, yeah.
So
because there's 5 categories. There's ABS, there's drift, there's max speed, there's grip, and then there's acceleration. So 5 categories, 20 points apiece.
That is what that sounds about right. Because I was able to do 3 of them max, and then I was like, I'll do a couple points in acceleration. Then I tried to play it, and I'm like,
oh yeah, Fat Chocobo goes nowhere.
Is bad. I get the boost fucking fast. I get my ability super fast because I maxed that one, and then I decided that was a bad idea. So that's basically the story. I
enjoyed it because me and Crin were voice acting it.
Oh, that was fun.
So I feel like that was
fun.
part of the fun of it. But also the writing was except for the immediate typo that began.
Oh, that was great.
Great. We put in the
what was it?
How
game.
I'll show you in a second.
How yo start the game.
But I enjoyed it. I thought it was like tongue in cheek kind of thing. They were having fun with it, and it was short enough that it wasn't like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Get me out of this cutscene.
Like, this is the kind of game I would actually like to have, like, a couple days of, like, let's do, like, a versus match every once in a while, pick a couple tracks and just run around for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of want to play it again.
Where do Yo want to start from?
Yeah.
From the beginning or from where we left off? When you go into story mode and you have left story mode and come back in, that's the option it gives you. And man, oh man, that is one hell of a typo.
Yeah, right there.
And I'm trying to wonder if it's even a typo because you.
And I was like, oh God.
When you notice in the game that every character has an accent, they designed the wordplay with accents in it.
That's from the menu, man.
I know.
That is like,
I know.
Yo, where do Yo want to start from?
That's clearly a typo, but I don't know if they had the same mindset of like wanted to play it a certain way, but it fell flat because nobody understands the context of how you're supposed to say it.
It would be from one of the characters, I would guess, and you would have like Sid's face or something like that,
right?
And it would be like, yeah, where do you want to start from? Not from where do Yo want to start from?
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought we were going to be in for a shit time, and I actually enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's okay.
I'm actually looking forward to the next game.
I don't know if I'd say that, but it was all right. You know, it was especially once you beat the game and you customize, then you could actually make a character that could stay on the track.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, while we were playing, it felt kind of janky for a while. Like, it was janky to control.
It was like, okay, so when I saw you start the game, and I was looking at in the context of the cutscenes where Sid is giving you the racing, the wheels, basically. And he's like, he does explain the fact that you really need to learn how to drift.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, so it says something about, some joke about they get the drift or something like that.
Yeah.
When you press the brake and you're accelerating at the same time. And that kind of underlines the game knows how important it is to drift. I just feel like it took me the entire story mode campaign to understand how to play the game properly. And then once I did, I felt like it was rewarding. Like when we raced against each other.
Yeah, it was fun.
Or like when we retried.
Yeah, you were way better after you were finished with the game, Joe.
Yeah, and that's how it should be. I wish that maybe it was underlined even more, like more tips, like, hey, get the drift down or else this game is going to be a living hell.
Don't just hit me with puns.
If y'all want an insight into the demo I played for the new version of the game, the very first prompt it tells you will not get a chance to even race 1 foot on the track until you complete the tutorial, and it's demanding you to drift.
Yeah.
At a very specific sequence. It's like, do it or you don't get to play.
It's like drift is a big part of Mario Kart, but I feel like you can still, for the most part, make most of the turns in Mario Kart without drifting. Yeah. Just because the tracks are wider and it's a lot more.
It's more forgiving.
I guess. It is more forgiving. This one is like this game gets harder and harder. Like it has the 10 tracks of the game, right? And each of them is progressively worse. And it kind of feels like if you are getting fucked over, like me and Schweiss were, and not understanding how to drift or whatever, and especially me, I guess, it just feels like, wow, this game is being just an asshole to be an asshole. But once you understand how to drift, I think it's fun. I thought it was well done for the most part.
Yeah.
I had to change. After I'd had that full experience, I was able to feel that way. Certainly while playing it for the first hour and a half, I was frustrated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is frustrating. I think the power-ups are kind of interesting. When you get multiple stacks of certain ones, you can do like an Uber move, and then
I would actually like to see what happens if you get 3 fireballs, because I don't think anybody showed me what that looks like.
It's supposed to. I think it just hits everybody. It explodes everybody on the map. So the power-ups are more unfair, but it's also, I don't know, man. I mean, I almost always use because you get like one equipped power-up that you bring into the matches, and then you get like ones that you pick up off the ground.
Yeah.
I think I stand by doing the boost as your equipped one.
Oh yeah, I use boost in every version I did.
But it's nice to have the other, because like you do one boost and then you get a pickup boost, and like you can catch up pretty like effectively in this game.
When I was showing you on the ghost level, when you hit the top of the last ramp before you just fly out of the castle, and you fully launch your dash move, and then you pick up the dash that's right after the bottom ramp. You basically have double boost for about 15 seconds. So you can almost go from 0 to 6 to first place in that one jump.
Yeah, so it's like it's unfair with how brutal they can nail you, but you can hit them, you can smack them right back, and you can catch up in this thing. So as a single player campaign, it was kind of enjoyable. It was a nice change.
I was also like yelling and cheering when I had finally beaten.
Like, you literally picked up the laptop. It's like, see, I won! Yeah, I won! Yeah.
So like, I felt like it energized me, and I like feeling that way in a game. Like,
yeah,
that's how it should be. That's as like a fan supporter. It's like, oh, we're all cheering in the crowd. You're like, he's been trying like 400 times. He couldn't get it. He finally gets it. You're like, yes.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, Krinital clapped. It's good though. I thought it was a nice change. I don't think it's bad. I think it's all right. I do think it is kind of a.
It's older, so it's a little clunky. I would say.
Yeah, it's definitely clunky.
I don't like how you can just be on the edge and fall off. Like, you can just be touching the edge and fall off. That's probably my least favorite thing about the game, is like when you're taking one of those sharp turns and your guy doesn't fully skid off. It's like the game is programmed to like, okay, once you've touched the edge,
you're done.
Then you're done.
One tire off, you're screwed.
I don't love that, because I feel like Mario Kart kind of has that the physics perfectly, where it's like you can have like one tire off and still like save your ass if you turn right.
Yeah, it's not as smooth as those others.
No,
I don't know if it happens in Mario Kart, but when you guys hit guardrails, they should be able to at least give you a bump at the very tip end of the guardrail, so that it pops you away from the wall if you hug it. Like, if you're running the side of the guardrail, the very last should be like enough to be like, doop.
Yeah, that's something that Mario Kart would do.
Yeah, and this one, instead, you just ride the wall all the way up to heaven in the fucking canyon thing.
It's like, as soon as the wall runs out, like, no.
We also had a couple glitches, too.
Yeah,
I phased right through the stairs, phased into the box.
Yeah, I phased into some area when you guys weren't here, too. I can't remember what it was, but there was something where I was like, oh my God, this game.
Yeah.
Like, I was mad at it.
Yeah, I kind of agree, though. I think it's okay, and I do kind of want to play it again, just to get the unlocks. And
I wish you could do more than 2 players.
Yeah.
That was something you could do on the PS1, so I don't know why it's stuck to 2 players. But, I mean, we played some rounds of the multiplayer last night. Too late into the night to actually record this episode last night.
Yeah. We were tired from the trip.
So tired. It was from the trip. We drank a little bit, and then I was like, I'm so tired.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway. So we did that. Now, Schweiss got the worst amount of points.
Yeah, by like 2.
By 2, yeah. You got 63. I got 65.
Yeah. I got 85.
Krin got 85 points. But then when we played multiplayer, Krin beat me, Schweiss beat me, Schweiss beat Krin.
Yeah.
So who is the best player?
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's a question.
I mean, Krin's more of a prodigy, but he's like child prodigy. You know, like first time.
Literally both, like 2 out of the 3 races, we were literally neck and neck.
It was
literally
fucking close.
Right there.
I think the one you won, you blasted me.
Yeah.
And I think I blasted you one of the other ones.
You beat me at Delling and the Mineshaft.
I think
but
one
Volcano,
of them,
I beat you.
Yeah, I think one of them I had like a major shortcut, so I like won by a lot.
Yeah.
And then when we did the Grand Prix, I also won. But I also almost lost at the computer, so that was close.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know, it's a good time. I do wish we could have all played like a Grand Prix. That would have been sweet. Like,
yeah.
Maybe when the next game comes out, we can actually all play multiplayer, but hopefully
that's something I'm wondering about Chocobo GP.
I bet you can. I think that might be actually a good time.
Yeah, it might be. I've heard some negative things in the comments on Discord, but
it's mostly about microtransactions. And people get all butthurt about that.
In the demo, they kind of wanted you to connect to their marketplace, and I'm like, why?
Well, the demo version is you can unlock the main version, so it's like kind of like Dissidia, where they're like, you can buy everything.
Yeah,
to make
please
it the
subscribe to
main
the
game.
Nintendo shop and be able to play online with multiplayer, play GP. Like,
oh fuck, I'm gonna have to pay for Nintendo Online. $3
So would
a
I.
month.
It's like, Jesus Christ.
It's like dollars a month, but it's like $6 or something. It's super cheap.
But I mean, we'll just like blitz through it and be like, all right, let's
Oh yeah, it's not. I'm not taking my time or anything. Unless it's really fun.
I think the only thing we didn't touch on is how the game looks. I think it looks fine for the
okay.
time. Like pretty decent 3D planes. I do like it during the story mode. It has like this like paper.
The foldy book.
Like, yeah, what do you call it?
It's a pop-up book.
Pop-up books. Thank you.
It's that's the cool thing that they had in Chocobo. What was it? Chocobo Tales?
Tales, yeah.
Yeah, we liked that in Tales. I was like, oh, this is kind of a cool way to tell a story. And this is the original one that did it because this is an older game.
Yeah, this
Tales.
one came first.
Why we played Tales first, couldn't tell you.
Because it was called Final Fantasy in the title.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was Final Fantasy Fables.
The change up of the name says it all.
And it screwed me up because it wasn't called that in Japan.
Yeah, and we weren't originally going to play these Chocobo games, but I think I convinced us.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember
For better or for worse, we were convinced
either way
to play these. But
we do have a review from a listener.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is another one from Steven.
Go, Steven.
Chocobo Racing is okay. There's just nothing to set it apart from all the other kart races of the era. The driving controls are kind of clumsy, and some of the characters' engine sounds are just intolerable. Seriously, try to get through the race as Chubby Chocobo.
I mean, I thought
anything.
his sounds were funny. It just reminded me of Craig, just like making like, yeah, he's just like.
He's Fat Chocobo. What do you expect? He's going to make sound effects.
He's going to make fat guy
I do
sounds.
love all the fat jokes when Fat Chocobo comes in. That made me laugh.
Yeah.
It's like, haha, they'd get shamed for that today.
Yes.
Don't eat me, dude.
But it's funny. Still, it was released in the middle of my favorite era of Final Fantasies, and the cameos and secret characters are really fun. Delling City is one of my favorite Final Fantasy locations, and being able to revisit it in another game was so unexpected. I wouldn't recommend Chocobo Racing to very many people, but I'm proud to have it in my collection. It's got a weird vibe that I appreciate. One of those games that doesn't feel like it belongs outside of Japan.
Kinda, yeah.
I'm kind of glad it came here because if not, I would have at least gotten a chance to enjoy the game for what it is.
Yeah, I'm glad it came out.
I enjoyed it. In fact, I think it's ranking higher on my list.
Do I think it would have been a good competition for any other kart game that was out at the time? No.
Yeah, it's Crash Team Racing.
No.
Mario Kart. Like,
No.
come on. No way.
But how does it stack up against the Chocobo games is the question.
Y'all have a better retinue for that because I have not got a chance
All
to
right,
play
so
them.
I'm gonna rank. This is my ranking of the Chocobo games. Number one is still Chocobo Tales. I think that game is fun and solid and really great DS title. Then it's going to be Chocobo Racing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
second best?
It's a distant second, but it's a second.
It's definitely distant.
It says volumes to the other titles then.
Then it's going to be Chocobo's Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo's Dungeon, as I have referred to it lovingly and not so lovingly as Cunt Dungeon. That
Delicious.
is actually no, sorry. Chocobo's Dungeon 2 is next after that. And then Chocobo's Cunt Dungeon is after that. So that one's Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo's Dungeon.
Oh.
And then the worst Chocobo game to me, because it's barely a game and not fun at all, is Chocobo World.
All right, let me see this. First is Kingdom Hearts. Now, all right. I'm going to go in reverse order.
So worst to best.
I'm going to agree that Chocobo World is probably the worst one. Even if I played it back in the day, I'd still put it at the bottom because there's really almost nothing there.
I also played that, if you got the context from last episode. But yeah, I played at least about 20 levels of it, but still the context is still the same.
It doesn't change. There's a final boss at the end of all that, and that's it.
It's very dull. This game is very dull.
Yeah. So, World is at the bottom. Next, I would say, as of right now, I would probably put Chocobo Dungeon 2.
Yeah, we had a reverse order on that, on those two.
Yeah.
On the Chocobos, which Chocobo Dungeon is worse.
Do you think 2 is worse than the first title?
We've never played the first title, so when we're saying, so Chocobo's Dungeon 2 is the first Chocobo Dungeon game that came out in the United States. They never put out the original Chocobo's Dungeon.
Oh,
which we are, by the way, thankful for. Thank you for not giving us another Chocobo Dungeon game. And then on the Wii, they made a Wii game called the Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo's Dungeon.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So I'll do Chocobo Dungeon 2. And then I wasn't sure on whether I wanted to put Chocobo Racing above Chocobo's Dungeon.
Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo's Dungeon?
Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo's Dungeon.
Just to differentiate it from Chocobo's Dungeon, which we've never played.
Yeah.
That's Triple F CD. Yeah.
Triple F CD.
It sure is. Thank you. I don't know, man. I think I'll put Racing a little bit below it. I don't know what it is about the Fables one. I just kind of enjoyed. I played it twice. Like I seriously played it twice in the same year. You know, on the Wii, and then they came out with it again on PlayStation 4, and I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'll buy it for $40.
Wow!
I already bought it once. I'll buy it again. Don't tempt me with a good time. And then, so I would say Chocobo World, Chocobo Dungeon 2, Chocobo Racing, very close with Chocobo's or Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo's Dungeon. And then definitely the faraway winner has got to be Chocobo Fables. That
Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo's Tales.
Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo Tales. I'm sorry, I mix up the...
So Triple FCT.
There's a thesaurus in my mind, and I really mix up the word for story. Apparently, when it comes to these Final Fantasy Fables, Chocobos,
when it
Tales,
comes to these final story games,
these final story of the fantastical genre.
So CT is better than CD.
How many of these have you played, Grin?
Can't answer that.
I've played World. I've played the Wii title, the Chocobo Dungeon 2, but I do not.
Wait, the Wii Chocobo Dungeon?
I believe so. One with a little kid with the green
Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo Dungeon. Okay.
Yeah. I played that. And that's about it.
Okay,
but I don't remember it.
Okay, out of those three, how would you rank Racing, Fables Chocobo Dungeon, and Chocobo World?
Based on current memory, if I probably go back and play the game and remember it most time, but right now, Racing is at the top. Just based on what I played for 10 minutes of World, I'd almost want to say Dungeon's better than World. So that's what I'm going to go with. So,
okay.
Racing at top, Dungeon, then World.
Dungeon is better than World. I agree with that. No. So that is our ranking, and I think that's going to be it for this episode. Guys, go check out our other video game podcast, Nude Clan. I have quit Twitter, so you can no longer follow me on Twitter. But please join the Discord. There should be a link in the description of the episode if you want to get hold of me.
I'm in there too.
Yeah.
Every once in a while. But I also have a Discord myself. I have Crin's Crystal Interface on Discord, which I basically run the B team when these guys don't want to play mobile titles.
Nice.
So I'll chat about all the mobile games from War of the Visions, Brave Exvius, and All the Bravest, and so on from there. But if you want to reach out to me, jump to them in the New Clan, I'll be there.
I am at UFF Podcast on Twitter. And yeah, come check out our other podcasts. We got plenty of them. Nude Clan, For a Few Chickens More, Song of Schweiss and Johnson. Game of Thrones is coming back. We got that prequel show coming out. You got to catch up, man. Hit it up.
Check out the Godzilla podcast.
Yeah, Godzilla. We got that. We got stuff. We got pod.
All right. Well, the next game we are going to play is going to be Chocobo Racing GP.
Gold points. Sticking with it.
I gave you gold points. Now you have to stick with it.
Yeah.
And so join us for that game. It's a brand new game. I think it's on the Switch, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
After that, we'll have Final Fantasy 14.
Finally get to Final Fantasy 14 again.
Shadowbringers.
The stuff in between.
Did you go from the midpoint of Stormblood into Shadowbringers?
Nope. The post Stormblood stuff we haven't touched.
Oh my god.
So we have 2 14 reviews coming up. The content between the last expansion and the next expansion, the current one, and then that expansion.
Yeah.
So actually, if you're going to do that as the episode, that you'd have one for the back end of Stormblood, one for the beginning of Shadowbringers, one for the back end of Shadowbringers, and one for the beginning of Endwalker.
No, we did the end of Stormblood.
Oh no, yeah, we did Shadowbringers.
Yeah, we did Shadowbringers. So
it's Endwalker. I mixed them up.
It's between Shadowbringers and Endwalker because it's all the patch content.
Yeah.
And then we got to do Endwalker.
Canonically, I can only remember the last one.
And then when the next expansion comes out, then we do all the patches that Endwalker puts out.
Okay.
So yeah.
I'm still trying to be on that episode because I don't want to be the gremlin in the comments again, just sitting there just weaseling away all the story bits.
And we're supposed to do the patch content in between before the expansion, but there's always something that comes up.
Sorry.
So we don't.
This one was my fault. I lived in a trailer with no good internet.
Yeah. You know what sucks about that? On my phone, I can give you unlimited internet through that the hotspot.
No, I have hotspot. It's just like, oh, what, you want to give me your phone?
No, but mine is unlimited though, is what I'm telling you.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
but
mine
is it unlimited high speed? That's my question.
I don't know how high speed it is.
Yeah, that's why, because AT&T, I think with my hotspotting, I think it will give me hotspotting the whole time. They just throttle you after however many gigs.
Man, I'm getting hot with all this talk about throttling hotspots. This is starting to turn a little adult AO for this episode.
All right, guys, that's gonna be it. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, until next time, enjoy the grind.